Hello friends, welcome back to tutorials. In this video we are going to discuss about Angular data binding and insert that property binding. We have already discussed about other type of binding, two-way data binding and one-way data binding. We will see property binding and how that works. Actually we have already used this method property binding, and property binding is generally, here you can see we have used this property binding, but that was a bit complex, so let me show you with simple example. So let's write here, say in square bracket. Okay, here you will write value equal to email. Okay, and this email we need to specify into here email and then string in here okay. So what will happen, the data will be taken from here, this email, and it will display using property binding. So the main point here you need to understand that property binding always is with square bracket. Okay, this is binded to square bracket, and if you remember, if you want to display the same thing, then this is called interpolation. But normally inside input we don't use this interpolation, we normally use this kind of property binding. So guys, here you can see this one is displaying the name, and this is coming from our TS file, and this is called property binding. And you could have written the other way also, like value equal to email. So this way also, either you write this way or that way, both are same. This is property binding. And another way was using interpolation. So interpolation in actual uses this method internally. Now we will see, we have already seen this attribute binding, this property binding. Now we will see attribute binding. Okay, so how we can implement that? For example, there are few elements in HTML whose property does not exist in DOM element. For example, let me show you. Suppose this is a simple table. Inside that there is tr and then there is td. Okay, in td, if you remember, there is col span, there is attribute called col span. So if you want to add here col span, then what is the option? Suppose if you are adding here something, say 4, okay, and then this col span, if I write here col span number and then 4. Now you will see the error, can't bind to col span since it isn't non-property of td. Okay, because the corresponding col span of DOM element does not exist. So what is the option? The option is here, we can write a attribute then col span here, and simply we will write col span value. Col span, which one? This value. So this name can be anything, for example col spans, and here also col spans. So this way you can display here attribute binding. Okay, the number is not displaying here, but you can see the data is easily fetching there, right? So there are few elements where you need to apply this attribute binding. So attribute binding always start with ATTR and then this one. Now let's understand the difference between attributes and properties. Normally new developer is confused about this, about attributes and properties. So let me show you the difference so that you can understand. So guys, let's see the difference here. First one is attributes and second one is properties. Attributes are initial values that are defined in HTML code. Okay, their static cannot be changed once the element is rendered. They are defined in the HTML, can be accessed using getAttributes method in JavaScript. For example, here ID is an attribute. Okay, in Angular you can bind the attributes using this interpolation or ATR. Okay, we have just I've just shown you the example, this ATR call span, right? And also we were getting the value through this, so we can bind the attribute through this one. Now the properties are actually the rendered value. For example, if I explain you in simple way, so let's go here. This text area, right? This ID is a property of HTML. Okay, and when the same thing is rendered here, that one was attribute, and now the same thing is rendered here, and this is property. Okay, this is the property. So the attribute is related to HTML code. Remember, attribute is related to HTML code and property is related to DOM generated content, and this DOM generated content can be changed through JavaScript. Okay, here I am displaying you two examples. This one is attribute binding, the example of attribute binding, and this one is example of property binding. Okay, so let's do one thing, just write some message here. Enter value. The result will be same. Here the result will be same, but mechanism is different of rendering. So attribute binding works with HTML attribute itself, property binding works with DOM elements property. So guys, hope you understand this binding, and let's see in the next video. So by that time, bye bye.